Hey everyone, this is the Spiritual AF Podcast, and I'm your host, Judd Fink. On this podcast, you'll hear about my personal journey that led me on the path to spiritual growth, the journey of my guests, and the wisdom that we've gained along the way. It's important to me to put this podcast out in hopes that the stories contained in it resonate with the listener and assist people on their own path to healing and growth. I am deeply thankful to even have the opportunity to do this. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, guys, so let's go. And thank you so much for listening. Hey, this is Spiritual AF Podcast. I'm Judd Fink, and my guest today is Kim Hayes. She is the owner of Blooming Life Studio and Spa Wellness Center. They offer a range of spiritual practices, right?
Yes.
And if you'd like to go into that.
Sure. Yeah. We have several different types of yoga classes. We have 2 Reiki practitioners, float therapy, life coaching, nutrition counseling, just about anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think like most things can be looked at from a spiritual aspect.
For sure.
Or anything, really, I believe. Anything can.
Yep.
So it's great that you offer all these different,
There's
things.
lots of tools in the toolbox.
Yes, yes, it seems so. So, tell me about your personal spiritual journey.
So I guess if you want to start all the way back in, I was raised Catholic. And as I got older and started, I suppose, questioning things and looking at things through my own thought process, some of that didn't make sense to me. So I went through a lot of years of like trying to find what to call myself, like what definition, like what am I? If this isn't what I am, like what am I? And so I did a lot of, studying different religions, and I never could find something where I was like, yes, this is it, this is me. And so at some point I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this my way. I'm just going to do what feels good to me. Like tools in the toolbox. There's just no right way to do it. So I just started really trusting myself and not looking for it outside of myself at that point.
Yes.
So I guess I started, yoga was probably the beginning of getting really in touch with my spirituality, because it allows you to more so connect with yourself, and be quiet and notice little subtle things in your body. And so that was the beginning of becoming more spiritual and more attuned to, I guess, the spirituality that just surrounds us in our life.
The energy.
It just took some time to quiet down and listen to what was already inside me. So yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, what challenges, or experiences or whatever.
Yeah. I think that anytime you kind of go off path like that, although there are a lot of people on that path, it's still kind of off path, especially in our culture and in the space where we live. There's not really a lot of, I guess, support around you to where you can have people to talk to, as you're discovering these spiritual paths. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is that a lot of this is done on your own. Whether that's, I guess, a challenge or a plus, a lot of it should be done on your own. It is just nice and helpful to have people around to talk to and what their experiences are. And so that's still probably the biggest, quote unquote, challenge that I would have is when you get into talking about my dad's passed. And so when I talk about him and experiences that I have with him since he's been passed, you have to, figure out who your audience is sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's just things you don't necessarily get to go talk to everyone about.
Exactly.
So
not everyone's open to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but people find each other, and it's great to find other people to talk to about that. But so I guess that would be the biggest challenge, and trusting yourself and you know, that journey. So, yeah, it's all wonderful, like, and lonely and scary and all of those things all at the same time.
Things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes, one of the most difficult things was being alone for me in the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then dealing with going through the process of like healing old traumas.
Yes.
and stuff, and or not even necessarily healing them, just being very accepting of some, healing some, accepting some, and
even recognizing things that are traumas. I mean, there are some obvious ones, but then recognizing other things that might not have in the moment seemed traumatic, but you carried it with you and you still are affected by it.
Oh, yes. And then through spiritual practices like Reiki or yoga or whatever, you recognize these things showing up in your body.
Yes.
And it's you know, as you're experiencing it, you don't realize it, you know, but you notice these things happening, your body reacting to situations based on literally muscle memory, you know, from your traumatic event.
Yes.
And yeah, it's you don't know, it's crazy how it all works.
I think a lot of people are also, that's why they're so tight and tense all the time anyways, is because they don't realize that they're holding all of those things in their body and not getting rid of the anger or the sadness or the whatever. Like, it's still sitting there
or whatever,
and the strange, you know, health symptoms you have or anything like that.
Yeah Man, I just love all this stuff.
I know.
But it's super, it's how everything is energy. It's you know.
And that's what drew me to Reiki. I've always, even before I really knew a lot about Reiki, felt like hands are very energetic. Like, we pass a lot of energy to other people. And I mean, that's a tale as old as time, I suppose, with any spiritual practice. You know, there's always like a laying of hands and healing hands and all of that in a lot of different religions, you know.
Sure.
And I think even just as a mother and, you know, the touch that you give to your children and when they're sick or when they're sad. So I think all of us can relate to that. And so that's what really drew me to Reiki, just trying to deepen that and share that energy with other people through myself, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. And then even that, like being open to the Reiki or explaining to people, I guess they just have to be, you know, at the point of being able to hear it.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
That one I just feel like you can't argue about. Like, if somebody loves you and like Reiki is all just love, like comes up to you and puts their hand in your hand or on your shoulder, or, I mean, we all feel that. So
yeah,
I think we all can relate to that a little bit.
And auras and how far they go out.
Yeah, I know that's a little bit harder to explain, but yes, we all kind of get vibes from people. It's all different words for the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the you know, our words and how powerful they are, and the because it is a vibration. That's what your words are.
Even the words to ourself. That's always the biggest one.
The biggest
one. The things you say to yourself are really powerful.
And then how you can tell if someone is being inauthentic based on their words, and it's not even a challenge. To, you know.
Yep.
And it's just, once you're in tune with all this stuff, it's just all.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then through that too, like when you're unsure, at least in my experience, when you're unsure of something, like you'll see, they will show you things all around you. You know, the numbers, the significance of an animal, you know, whatever.
Yes.
Just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to know that you're fully supported.
Right. Exactly. Yes. You know? Yeah. I think it's just a matter of getting curious about all those things. Like, if there's no curiosity around, you know, why do I feel this way when I'm around this person, or why did that owl show itself to me randomly? I've never seen any owls around here before. You know, just not brushing off feelings or things that you see or numbers and it just being curious, like, like, what is that? Is that something I should pay attention to? Yes. And I feel like whether you want to say I believe it or I don't believe it, it's a good pause anyways, whether you believe it or not. It's a good pause to be like, I wonder what that's all about. It says owls are whatever, like bringing a message of somebody hiding something or whatever. Then it takes pause. And is that something that you need to think about in your life, or is it not? So
yes,
whether you believe it or not, I just think it's all a great like pause to say, is that something I need to pay attention to?
Oh yeah, I've had many pauses.
Pause
It's a good
thing to pause. Yes. Yeah.
Because we just want to go forward.
I know. Yes.
But,
yes.
But you can't.
A lot happens in that pause. Yeah.
A lot happens.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as all of this, clearly, like, you think this is, for you, your mission, purpose,
yes,
and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree,
Yep.
For what I'm doing. And, all right. So are there any specific stories that you have, instances that involve spirit that really stick out to you, or a past loved one, or several stories? Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, most significantly and most recently, my dad passed away a little over 2 years ago, and not right away, but fairly shortly after that, when I would meditate, or I was taking a class on developing my intuition during guided meditations, like to meet your spirit guides and things.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, my dad keeps showing up. Like, he won't let me meet my spirit guides. He just keeps showing his face. And my friend who was teaching the class, she's a medium, and she was like, your dad is your spirit guide, right? Like, he's there, right there. That's where he's at right now. And so I was like, oh, well, that explains a lot, because he was really significantly a presence with me for a while, which was great. And once I figured out that that's what he was there for, it was just cool to, he was just there. Anytime I wanted to sit and meditate or whatever, he was there. Or when I'd go see my friend who's a medium, she'd be like, yep, there he is. He was like ready there all the time. And then it was probably like maybe a year later, after that, where I had gone through like a little bit of a relationship trauma, I suppose. And like a couple months after that, I felt like my dad left. Like, he was gone. I didn't feel him there anymore. And I was like, well, that's strange. Did that really happen? Or am I misreading? Which is always the first thing we go to, but we really need to just trust. Like, I knew he left that spot.
Yes.
And so I went to see my friend, and so he left that significant spot because I didn't need him there anymore, So It was a great thing that he was there and he knew I needed him. And then he was like, okay, you got this, not that I can't ever like find him when I need him, but he was there for that significant part of time. And then once he knew I was okay, he was like, okay, you got this. And then, he's not in that spot anymore, but
it's pretty cool.
It was really great. It was.
Yeah.
I have never had that experience before. So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Sure sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just talk about myself a little bit. With my grandmother was that for me. Not my spirit animal.
Yeah.
But she passed when I was 28. Yep. And we shared the same birthday as well, and just very close, and then when that happened, and then once I was actually going through traumatic time, divorce and all that, she was always there.
Yep.
Like, she would calm me down and go, and I could audibly hear her say, shh, like,
yep.
it's okay.
That's awesome.
And all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I just silly things where, I used to be in real estate, so I used to go in a lot of houses, and so I really, you can pick up on things. Occasionally, I would get photos where I'd see like lights that weren't there or things like that. So I always thought that was cool, because I was like, I knew that something was going on in that house, and then, I suppose in all of that, just trusting your first instinct to it and not going like, well, that could have been this, but was it really? Or,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that just learning to trust that, yes, that really was what you think it was. Or yes, that's what you heard. And yes, that's probably who was telling you that message, or, that's,
Yeah. And so what you're referring to is, a scientific fact, or where science is literally just trying to prove spiritual facts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're just trying to prove things.
Yes.
That you can't see. Well, more and more things are becoming measurable.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So.
Well, and I just, there's just something to our intuition. Like there's just so many reasons why we should trust our intuition,
all the time.
That, I mean, and even I suppose if you don't believe in some of this, that you have a sixth sense, and when something doesn't feel right, and you tell, your girlfriends to trust that or whatever, if it doesn't feel right, then listen to your instincts. Like we just should listen to our instincts all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
But we battle that.
Yes.
All the time.
I know. I mean, I still do. I get it. I still do. But
I do too, because I want what I want.
Yeah.
I want this.
Yes.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or was that really? I mean, yes, it probably was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever are you visual? Like what visions do you get?
No, I think that dreams I can be where I'd have more like pictures or visual things that would come to me. So I can't say that I have visually seen a spirit or a presence. So that's not one of my gifts.
That's not one of them.
No.
Okay.
Is that yours?
It's one of them.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
But certainly at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. But mine, I've had all of them at different times, it seems like, just actually in here last week, I'm going through currently shamanic trauma healing course right now. I'll be done with that soon too, which is awesome. But
cool.
So, my teacher and then another medium was like getting stuff about me here recently, and they're like, "Oh, you're this natural shaman. Like that's why all these spirits are drawn to you." And so I'm like, okay, I'm learning here, right? How to do this the right way. And so they're all here, but I don't know how to set the boundary.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was told how to set the boundary, and I did.
Good.
But some of them are stubborn and don't really want to listen. And they're like, oh, hey, you have the ability to cross us over, and we're ready to go.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm trying to do it, the best way. And I'm not ready to do that at this point.
Yeah.
So in here in this room, I was putting one of the foam panels on the wall last week, and this door was open, and a deep male voice was like, "What gives you the right?" Like,
okay.
Yeah, like because he's upset, like that. I mean, look at that. Like
Yeah.
I'm all lit up even talking about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just one of those startling moments. It's not always startling.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But then it was time to definitely clean house, which I immediately did.
Yes.
After
yes,
that.
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Steve, if anyone hears the dog, it's my dog Steve Johnson.
Steve.
He's a good boy.
He's a good co-host.
Yep, he's a co-host.
Yes.
But yeah, like I said, I've had all different ones at different times. It just I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've had premonition dreams that literally happen word for word and event by event. Sometimes the next day.
Yeah.
It's and that the earliest one that I had of that, I was probably 4.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
It just been around.
That's a great awareness to have, that you remember that and didn't block it out or lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything scary or anything, but it was just.
Well, I mean, even just
that
it happens is scary to some people.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've had it, several other times in my life. At one time, it saved my life.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool how not that anyone is better than anyone else or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's just certain people are just more naturally spiritually advanced than others.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And based on your level of openness. And I think that the connectedness with my family is what opened that up for me.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing, is just being open to it. Because if you're not, then obviously you're not going to feel or notice how connected you are. And I think that's one of my bigger missions, even in yoga or any of those, is, and anyone who's coming into my studio, I want them to be empowered to know that they can trust themselves and trust their bodies and trust what they're feeling, and whether it's physically or emotionally or any of that. So that's like one of my biggest missions, is to empower people to trust all of these things and intuitions that they're having in relationships or friendships or at work or any of those things.
All of it?
That is so important to me, because we just brush off so many of those little insights and things that we get about people around us, or even, connecting with spirits, or we just brush that off and keep going the course that we think we're supposed to do. And I just don't want that for people. I want you to stop.
But that's all in anybody's personal journey.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, which you'd love to be like, hey, this is what I know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help.
No,
not until they're ready to hear it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Until they're open to it.
Well, I think that's the important part of us talking about it and showing people, because like I said, one of the biggest challenges is knowing that there's other people out there that you can talk to and you don't feel alone about it. So I will always be the crazy hippie lady who talks about it all the time, because I want you to know that it's a safe place. I'm a safe place for you to come and talk about those things.
Absolutely. It's even like for me, it was scary to get there. Just to say, okay, this is me.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And be okay with it.
Yep.
That took forever.
Yes.
Yep. And then I made attempts to just shut it off, but it's literally impossible.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't do it.
You can only do that for so long.
You can only do it for so long.
And it's hard to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They will make things happen to where you must pay attention.
Yes.
They will ruin your life, as you know it.
Yeah.
If you don't pay attention.
Yeah. True story.
But like, this is all very cool.
I know. I love it. I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
So, like, in your life coaching, do you like meet people who are, wanting to grow spiritually? Is that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just feel like it's all so connected. So, because like I was saying about trusting your intuition and things like that, trusting your body, trusting all those really subtle signs and feelings that you get, that's probably the basis of where my coaching is. Why are you feeling like that? What are you going to do about it? And are you avoiding? What are you avoiding? What do you need to face? So that's really the trusting. I'm just just can't talk about it enough. I just want to empower people to see, like I was talking about on my path, and trying to find something to call myself and some label to put on myself, and where do I belong? No,
it's hard.
Nope. Yeah. I just had to trust, like, I'm doing this on my own not on my own really, but I have my own path. We all have our own path. It doesn't have to match any other label or any other book you're looking for outside of yourself. So I'm so passionate about empowering people to know themselves and trust that,
and take their own steps
to
forward.
surround themselves with people who are going to continue to build that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I could go on about that all day.
Yeah, exactly. I just
yeah.
want to help people,
Yes.
and help people be okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is.
Yes.
Who is a spiritual teacher or guru or whatever who resonates with you the most? Like, who did you learn a lot from?
So personally, knowing my yoga teacher trainer, Justina in Springfield, she'll always have a special place in my journey, because of how she taught me and what she taught me. This was when I was becoming a yoga teacher, like doing my 200-hour class. But also because she was so real and like just made it attainable. Like she made it attainable to kind of be a spiritual leader, because she's a real person. She has real challenges. Yeah. And also she's this wonderful teacher that I learned a lot from. So for sure, she probably is one of the more significant in that journey. I'll always have a really strong spiritual connection with my granddad, my mom's dad. He was a strong Christian, and I don't practice that necessarily, but he always, his spiritual path was always very personal to him. He didn't have to go, make sure he was in this certain place every Sunday, it didn't have to look like what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
It was such a personal relationship between him and Jesus. And he didn't care, what anyone else thought about it or if anyone else saw it. And he was just the most wonderful, kind person. And that was his journey, and that's how he did it. But again, it was on his own. He wasn't doing it to show, I suppose, who he was. Just his life was the show of what a great person he was. So yeah,
doing it for yourself,
yes.
your way, and actually that's what matters the most.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. There's no right way to do it, but do it in a way that resonates with you and makes you a better person.
Yeah, because when you do get into the doing it the wrong way, which is an incorrect thought,
right?
Then you're judging yourself like, oh, this won't work because I'm not doing it this way.
Or what's anyone else going to think about it?
Exactly. That's the human side of it.
I know. I still think that sometimes, but it doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
No.
And it's really hard. It's hard to get there.
Right. Yeah.
So we brought in a deck of cards, and we're just going to have Kim pick one to read a message for herself, and hopefully it resonates. I'm sure it will.
Of course it will.
Yeah.
It always does.
I'm sure it will. Yes.
I picked these because I feel really connected to moon energy.
Yeah.
Always, and it's full moon today,
tonight.
So,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, shuffle them a little till one comes out at us. All right, wolf moon.
What is that?
So, do you have any intuition on what that is? Or are we going to read in the book what it is?
On that?
Let's see. Yeah. Let's see what it means.
I do not at the moment.
31. Howling at the moon. Have you ever felt like howling at the moon, believing that this is the only way anyone will listen to you? This is the card of communication. And when it comes up in a spread, it is asking you to speak up, speak out, and make yourself heard. Just as one wolf howls to another, it's time to raise your voice and sing out your wishes, dreams, and desires. I mean, it says more than that, but I like that. And recently I have been, I always this time of year get reflective about what has happened this year, what do I want to happen next year, and that voicing that, I think writing it down, speaking it out, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day, how powerful, like you
That
were
is.
saying words, like how powerful it is to speak out what you want or write down what you want.
Yes.
And it's incredible when you do that. Vision boards, journaling, any of that.
All of it.
It's so powerful to actually have those things show up for you. So that's perfect. I love that.
Yeah. And that resonates with me as well.
Yeah.
Doing this. and
Yes,
more.
exactly. Yes, I love that.
So
Cool.
yeah, man, it's been a great conversation.
Yes, thank you. It has been.
Yeah. And so if you're in the area,
Yeah. So bloominglife.studio is our website, or just Google Blooming Life Studio and Spa. Always happy to do one-on-one, even just consultation. Yoga is for everyone has been my platform even before I opened the studio, because there is a way for everyone to find their yoga, whatever that looks like. And so we have a lot of different options. And like I said, just reach out if you don't know where to start and need somewhere to start, because I can help point you in the right direction.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. This has been a great episode, and namaste.
Namaste. Yes, thank you.
All right.